here we go. Livy, Book 1, Chapter 41, the end of it. Servius, with his trabea, or in his clothes, the trabea is a robe, he prodigated. He came forth with his lictors, these are the people accompanying him, and he was sedens. He was sitting in the sed regia, in the royal seat, or the throne, you might want to call it, and he decided alia, decided some things, but consulturum, concerning the consultation of others, he simulated or pretended that he was going to consult the regem, the king. Itaque, and so, per aliquot dies, through several days, cum, while since, looks like since Tarquinius had expired, since he had already died, so for several days since Tarquinius has died, with the calata morte, with his death being collated or hidden, perspecum, through the appearance of fungende, of performing alien of someone else's, vicis in turn, so through the appearance of looks like doing the king's duties, he made an appearance that he was performing the king's duties. Here we saw that he was consulting the dead king, but really he was firmovitting or strengthening his own hopes, his own resources and position. Tum, so then, demum, finally, two adverbs, parlam, finally and openly, that's three adverbs, factum est. So it was done that orta comploration, so this wailing and crying arose in the palace, so finally factum est, what had happened was finally made open. Servius munitus, he was fortified himself with a firmo presidium, with a strong guard. He made sure he was protected. Primus, at first, in usu, unordered of the populace, without the people giving him this permission, he regnavited, he ruled, but with the voluntate, with the will of the patrons, or of the fathers. So the general people didn't give him any authority, but looks like initially the primus, the fathers did accept or allow him. Anchi liberi, the sons of Ancus, Yam, we'll take that as already. So tum then, with comprensis sceleris ministers, so the ministers or the people who performed the duty of this scelo, of this crime, had been comprended, had been grabbed. It goes with this nuntiatum est down here. So the sons of Ancus, when it was announced, nuntiatum est, then that the ministers of the crime that they had done had been comprensed, had been grabbed, and vivere, and that the king was living, he was viverating, and such were the hopes, such were the resources and power of Servius, they inherited, they went into exile at this accusative place, Suiza Pometia. 42, nec, type of negative, yam, we'll take that as now, so Servius looks nominative. So, Servius, magus means more with public concilius, so more with public planning, but we say it's nec, so he didn't use more public planning quam than private ones to munere, to fortify his position or his resources. So if he didn't use more public than private, they're about the same, so he used both forms, you might want to say in English. And nay, so not the qualis, the type, animus liberum, this here is it's usually not seen in the singular in classical period, but looks like the children of Ancius, what they would have against furat Tarquinius, talus adversus se liberum Tarquinius. So in other words, this little section here is the type that which the children of Ancius had towards Tarquinius, such would the children of Tarquinius have towards himself. So this would not happen, the nay bit. He had two filius, he had two daughters, and to the juvenibus regis, to the young kings or princes, Lucius, dative, and Arontius Tarquinius, he youngered. So he joined his two daughters to these young sons of Tarquinius. He didn't want all this bad emotions going on or whatever. Nec Rupert Tarman. So, nevertheless, he could not break the necessitatem of fate, the necessity of fate or some sort of force, with human concilius, with these plans made by a human. Quinn, we'll take that as from the invidia, from envy of the throne, the regnai, and his kingdom. And even into domesticos, even amongst his household, faceret, he had made infidia and infestia. So they were distrustful and hostile towards him, and omnias, just all this type of distrust and treachery was being formed. So I'll just show this thing about the trabea, a white tunic with purple stripes, official dress of the kings, and also of the high members of the priesthood and the knights. So you don't just see it with kings, you see it later on in the Republic. Okay, per opportune, very opportune to the present quiet of the state. This status, there's a fourth declension, so it's has us in nominative, accusative plurals, and genitive and nominative singular. It was a bellum with the Vientibus people. These are the people of Ve. For now already the Indutia, the truce that they had exeriated, gone out, ran out or something. And so Sumptum was the bellum. They took up this war with the Ve and other Etruscan people. In eo bello, in this war, et, correlatives, both the virtus and fortune, so the bravery and virtues and the fortune of Tullius inituited, they were shining. And fuso ingente hostium exercitu, so fuso means he's routed the huge army of the genitives, of the hostium, of the enemy. He was rex horde dubius, without doubt he was a king, either of the fathers, CUU, or of the plebs, when he redited to Rome, when he returned to Rome, pericloritas animos. So it was either in the minds of either of these. He had been pericletoed, which usually means he's been tested and in this danger. Now he was accepted by both parties, the elite and the common plebs. Ad greditor usually means going forwards with the ad and the greditor. Sometimes it means attacking, but it looks like he approached. Inde then. Ad takes the accusative to the maximus opus, to the greatest work, parcis of peace, longe by far, as had Numa, quem modum, just in the way or in such a way that he did, as the author, fruisi, had been of the divine juris, of the divine laws. So in the way which Numa had been the author of the divine laws, now looks like Servius is doing something for peace in this way. So ita, thus, Servius was the conditor, or the founder, omnis in civitate discriminus, of all the differences in the city. Discriminus is, sometimes it can mean trouble, but it means differences and joinings and other sort of things. So it looks like he was the conditor, the founder of all types of the distinctions and of the orders, ordinum qui, quibus, by which amongst the greatest, amongst the steps or rankings of the dignitatis, you start, there's like the bottom people, and it goes up higher and higher for magistrates, etc., all the way up to the kings, etc. So these would be the gratis, the steps of these distinctions, and of fortunes, aliquid. So interlucent means he would shine, or he would be one shining to posterior. Posterior is the future and future generations. He would bear this fama or this repute. He would be shining out into the future as the founder of these distinctions amongst the grades and fortunes of the people. And we're nearly done. Censum anim instituted. So he instituted a census. That's when I think we have them every 5 years. They count up the people and their jobs, etc., and how much money they have. This was a rem saluberrimum, which is a superlative, a very healthy matter for the state. Tanto futura imperium. This would be, we know the Roman Republic, was going to have a great imperium, or a great, empire in the future. Exque, from which the munitia, the duties or functions of belli and pacis, of war and peace, not be viratum, this is the Tim family of adverbs, would not be man by man as before, but pro habitu pecuniarum ferent. It would be in accordance with how much money you had. So the more money you had, the in the census, this would be divided up like that. So tum, then classes and centuries in this order they were made from the censo descripsit. So coming from how they were described in the census, this is how they were divided up in these classes. And this was decorum. These would be fitting either for Parkai from Pax for peace, or for Bello for war from Bellum.